All right, welcome guys to I guess technically our second AUA, but it's been a long time since we've had one, and probably definitely more than overdue. But welcome guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully there'll be a bunch of people coming in. If you have any questions, I will get to them, so just go ahead and type them in the chat. We'll have a couple of things we'll talk about up front to get some things out of the way, and then I'll check the Discord as well for some chats. First, I guess we can do some very quick intros and then go through, because most of us should know everybody here. Obviously, Lazy and Marcelo are probably in the Discord the most. JC, who is your Discord name, JC? I think so, eh?
It is, but it's also
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I can't remember which one shows up there. So yeah, and he's showing us face. So welcome, Jay. Maybe I'll throw it to you for the introduction first, since you're showing your face off to us for the first time. And I think that's why we're so late to this. We haven't seen everybody that often. We probably should do our own little Zoom chats every so often, but we ended up starting to shoot the shit at first. So JC, if you want to introduce yourself first, and then maybe Marcel and Lazy Dog, you guys can flip straws or flip coins or whatever. But go for it, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's really ever heard me or never said anything. Mm-hmm. So I'll do I do, like everybody, I have a in real life type of job, work. So I'm a lawyer by trade. I do real estate investing. I flip, I rent, I do basically anything that has to do with real estate. I do ground up, vacant lots. I'll flip a lot. I don't care. I do businesses. I've done several types of businesses. I'm always trying to do something new. But passion, crypto, loved it. It's a place where I feel comfortable, and I think that I've taken enough risks in the real world, and I understand business, and I understand how to offset things. And just like anybody, I've worked through really hard markets. I had some good times when it went up, and then it's hard again. But I think that's where we are. We're at a point where things are difficult, and I think that this is a good time to let everybody know what we're doing in the background. And maybe this is probably why I wanted to come out. People see who I am, see my face. And I'm kind of quiet usually. I kind of just linger in the back. So I'm the farmer. I have large personal farms for myself, and I've done it for a while now. And I know how to basically balance out how to. I have different strategies for different times, and that's maybe something we'll talk a little further once we get into the rest of the AMA.
Awesome. And yeah, and I should have said that, I guess. Yeah, JC's kind of our main farmer guy, whereas Marcelo does a lot of the bots, and Lazy kind of helps do kind of jack of all trades. I guess he kind of does a little bit of all of them, and learning as well on the fly as he does it, which is pretty amazing. So I don't handle any of the money, guys, which is how I wanted it set up anyways. But I'm here to kind of get the people, and luckily we've gotten a few good whales from some of my I guess getting out there and peddling for us, which is great. So Marcelo or Lazy, who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead and jump in. Yeah, Lazy Dog here. When we founded the project, I kind of stepped more on the design and development and visual side. I focus on that. I've handled some of the money, but I'm not currently handling any at this instant. That kind of goes in and out based on what we're handling and what we're doing. But when you're looking at things and you don't like what they look like, I'm the guilty guy.
Awesome. And Marcelo.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm Marcelo. I think many of you know who I am. I've been around for quite a bit. Through the end of the last bull run, through the bear, and now back here again, and this beautiful bull run that keeps messing with us. But it's so I take care of the bot trading, some farming. We keep having to switch over to different strategies here and there, including what we have nowadays, what's been happening lately. Just ask us anything, and I'm at the hospital right now, so the cleaner is here. I'm gonna mute myself, but yeah.
When you need to mute, that's fine. We'll clean up the the chat. Awesome. Thanks, guys. And yeah, so obviously, I hate to have to do this AUA at this time, but we delayed it probably longer than we should have. We started talking about it, I guess, in December, and market was pretty good actually, all in all. But then it was Christmas, all that jazz, so things just kind of happened, and now we've kind of been in this little bit of a slump. So I definitely want to attack that a little bit, and then so maybe if somebody wants to go into that, and Marcelo, if you can't, obviously we can see if anybody. I know Jay, you were doing a little synopsis of the market, so maybe you want to go through that a little bit for us, for the people.
Yeah.
Really, the big thing is and personally, just looking at what we've done, and I know it's been hard to see the price do what the price is doing, but we've still given out crazy amounts of rewards over the last year, which is pretty amazing. We've kept the liquidity or the base of everything fairly structured and fairly good, considering what has happened. Obviously, we're taking some heat, and that is what it is. But the good thing, I think, all in all, is once we do hit a recovery, that recovery should happen fairly fast, and it's not going to necessarily happen the first week you see a pump, because that's what often people get. We get this nice little euphoric moment, and then everybody's like, why aren't we at like 30% to bring back all that losses? It's not going to happen overnight.
Sure.
But based on good management, which is what you guys have been doing such an amazing job of, we should see a nice gradual uptick over time. And guys, again, if you have any questions, please put those in there. And yeah, Damon, actually, great little point there is there's a great opportunity, and this is what can help us springboard much faster, is if people do have new dollars, and I know it's really hard to ask for that when we're at such a price that we're at, but new dollars will help us springboard far faster. And some people might go, well, that sucks that other people get a better price than I did. Well, you also have an opportunity to get that price. But at the same token, the fact that those new dollars are then going in fresh at these lower prices, they help your dollars too. So it's not like it's a one-sided benefit if somebody gets in at a lower price. All it really helps them is if they decide to sell their nugget later. But the rewards are still the rewards and are still split based on everybody's piece of the pie kind of thing. So I don't know if anybody wants to go into a little bit of a market analysis and maybe give us a little bit of hopefully light at the end of the tunnel. And then, like I said, hopefully we'll get some questions lined up. I see Keith with one, and I'm going to check the Discord now while somebody's talking.
Yeah, I don't mind doing a little bit of a little. Nobody's really heard from me, so I'll do a little bit of talking. Yeah, sure. So I look at the market basically all day long. It's not only just because I'm looking at like the chart, because oh my god, I'm like staring at it going down or going up. It's just that there's a lot of different pieces to the market. They're talking about the macro side, which right now there's a lot of uncertainty in the macro end. You have to look at strategies there, what's happening with even with the ETFs that came out. You see the outflows, you see the inflows. You have to analyze different coins, different tokens. So there's always something that you can look at to see if you can get an idea of where things are going, where things might go. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball. So you do your best based on whatever you can put together based on what's currently happening. And things can change. Our market, crypto is like a teenager. It's like it goes crazy. It's like the emotions are very, very far-sighted. It's either you're really, really euphoric, or they're really depressed, or like you're bored.
It's bipolar.
So, it's bipolar.
It's literally like, a bipolar girlfriend.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. So when that happens, we have to understand, especially when BTC is because that's the daddy of everything. When BTC is going sideways for such a long time, you could have a draw. You could draw back. You could go up. It really we have to understand. You have to understand that the drawdown can be 20%, or it could have popped 20%. We were really just waiting for something to happen, and unfortunately, we came to the downside. And I think that's where our strategies come in. So at least on my end, I could talk a little bit of the farms and strategy. When that starts happening, you have to understand that it might be it's obviously a good time to start putting money little by little into your HODL positions. you can start picking up that BTCs. You can pick up some of that ether. You don't have to do it at large amounts. It's sort of like a DCA, which is what I do for my personal farms. I basically mimic what I'm doing on my personal side, and I do it for Nugget. And that's how you start weathering it out little by little, at least in the farms. Because although there is IL, you have to understand that at least the way I've always thought of it, it's not the amount that you put in, it's the amount that you pull out. So if you're constantly pulling out, you have to be very disciplined. The strategy, it becomes somewhat tedious. It is a little bit mind numbing at times, especially when you're running against the market, either up or down. Honestly, it's up or down. You're running against the market, because for a farmer, stability is much better than jumps north or south. It's if something is within a range for about a week, you're gonna make money up easily throughout that week. But when you have these huge jumps and then these huge drawdowns, you have to understand that when that is happening, you have to be putting money aside on the top, you have to be putting money aside at the bottom, and it's kind of like it's sort of like a balancing act. And when you're doing that so that when you're at the top, you're taking money out so that when it draws down, you're buying into HODL, and then you're still keeping your farms at an amount where your losses are on those farms are less, or at least as close as possible as to the least on what these positions are, so that when you do get these jumps, the tokens that you're holding, they go up with that jump, but those weren't part of your actual farm. So you're not pulling from your farms, you're holding onto your farms. Your farms are producing, they keep producing, and what you're pulling out and you're putting on the side is what you're making produce. When people think about, oh, that 30% jump, how come we're not jumping? Well, if you're farming for long enough, those positions start building up, and when that 30% jumps, you're rebalancing throughout your farm. So your farm isn't really growing as much, but your actual positions that you've been pulling out are growing at that rate. So right now, we're not on that 30% jump. We're getting closer to the 30% drawdown. So this is the time when the money that you set aside during those run ups, you start going ahead and start buying these drawdowns. So that's kind of like the balancing act. And then we can't forget that the whole point, I personally feel, of Nugget, and even of what I do from my personal side, is to have passive income. So the fact that we are paying out, we always have that payout. Why? Because on the farms, you're always earning. There is always earning potential. Down at the bottom or at the top, there's always earning potential. So honestly, for the farms, there should not be a day where we don't earn. So I can always, well, as long as I'm physically able to, I can always go and cash out, allocate here, allocate there, maybe even start a new farm depending on how much money we have somewhere. So I think that we have to understand that we're dealing with an emotional market. It's in everybody's palm, and everybody either buys up or buys down. And when those things happen, we have to understand that it's just part of what it happens now. It's just natural.
Well, and then we have, and even on top of that, we have and somebody was mentioning it earlier too, is our orange faced guy, Trump. He likes to, and oddly enough, actually, when I'm looking at, I do a lot of trading of my own, or still learning, still growing, but there's now the Financial Juice and all the news places. One of the things they put on as a red folder now is Trump speaking. He's basically turned into the new Powell. Literally, as soon as he says anything, the market goes either up or down like a rocket. And it's created a really big extra hole of not being able to predict anything almost, because we don't know what he's going to say and what it's going to do to the market. until after it's already done.
Yep.
And so that's been a really crappy thing for everybody to navigate. And unfortunately, like I mentioned in the chat, I think most of it's Trump trying to basically help the rich, and it's just and it's going to be or to help pay down the U.S. debt, maybe a mix of both. Who knows?
Also, we have to
But
understand when these huge jumps go, there's it doesn't fill the gaps with buys. It's like huge jumps.
yeah,
And when it comes back, these gaps are still there. So it's gonna go back to where we were almost. If you see the drawback, like where are we? Did we hit the 70s, I think, just recently, right? We hit
we did, I think, at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we hit the high 70s. I mean, we're really close to where we were before Trump's election. So that just
Yeah.
goes to show what happened when he was elected. Everybody got euphoric, and obviously crypto moves faster than the rest of the world. So we
Yeah.
didn't get what we wanted right away. So we're like, oh, we're never gonna get it. It's over. Our
yeah,
lives
exactly.
are
It's all
gone.
over.
So sell it all. We're all going. It's all going to what it is. But I think that we have to understand right now it's bleeding. People are the greed. The index is fear right now. It's not greed. It's fear. This is the time where you have to understand the little bits that at least in the farms that we've been accumulating. It's the time when I'm going to start drawing into that fund and start picking up these tokens that everybody else is selling. Yeah, the big whales are. I mean, we're not whales, but these whales are buying up. Guess who else is buying up? Well, Nugget is buying up. We're also buying some of this dip. So that's I think that's also important to understand.
I want to jump in here a second. I know Keith asked a question for Jay about the volume. Jay, maybe you could address a little about how
Yeah.
ranges and where you are in the range changes our return rates and just what we can do when these kinds of things happen.
Yeah. So I'll just put this into context. I use my personal farms as gauges for what I should do with Nugget. I have a lot of farms personally. I think if I'm not mistaken, I have about 20 farms. So what I do is I separate in all of these farms an equal amount. People are like some people who know my wallet addresses and some people who know me personally through Discord and stuff. They ask me because they'll come up as like, "Hey, why do you have so many farms? Wouldn't it just be easier to drop all your money into one?" I'm like, okay. So you have to watch out these things. So the way I do it is when I spread it out, I know which farms are paying the most at a given time. So if I have 20 farms and like farm number 9 is paying the most, I'll take Nugget's money and I'll drop it into that farm. I don't do that for mine personally because my whole point is the more I have spread out, the more I can see if that farm goes down, the other one makes up for it, which actually complements for Nugget because I can just have Nugget go into the best paying farm. And that's where volume comes. Volumes vary on different chains. Arbitrum can have a good day while Base is having a horrible day, while it flips the next day, and then possibly another day Sol is the one that's pumping. So just depending on what, even Avix, I gotta be honest, Avix had some nice pumps recently where I was in there grabbing some stuff too. So it does depend what's happening, and that's why since I'm so diverse in so many farms, I'm able to move the Nugget farms to those farms, and I'm not actually moving any of my farm. My farms just stay in these diversified, or I might add more as I grow and I add to different places, and that gives me more view to see where the volume is moving, what's heading. So yeah, obviously,
and that technically, sorry, JC, just to interrupt a little
Yeah.
bit. That's kind of what you're hoping to get to, I'm sure, even with our farms once they mature more, right? The idea would be to be less work, but unfortunately, right now, not unfortunately, but fortunately, right now, it takes more work to kind of keep the rewards going, to build that base, which is what we want to get to at some point, is building that foundation for Nugget. We've always talked about that since day one. It's just unfortunate that because of the way the market has moved and timing, blah, 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 we haven't gotten it to the base that we want, but we'll get there. And the nice thing is, after this next bull run, and I think again we've talked about that, but Marcelo, Lazy, Jay, all of us, is that once we get through the next bull run, that's where our time to shine will really come, because now we'll have that foundation that we've built from an actual bull run where we didn't have that last time, and then we get to preserve it, unlike everything else that tanked during the last bull to bear transition that we had, because we'll be better prepared for those kind of things. So that's a kind of a neat little, I guess, light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to all this. But we do need to weather these kind of storms, especially these uncertain ones that we've gone through, which I think we're kind of going through right now. And before I got to that question of Keith, I actually wanted to start with this first one. I know it's not and it's kind of for you, Jay. I know it's not technically something we can kind of exactly answer, but and I guess maybe for all of us, but to get our price back to where I don't think we really need to want to discuss. Sorry, not that we don't want to discuss getting the price back to normal. I think we have to be careful with putting our attention in the wrong benefit. The benefit is rewards. The price is just a long-term effect of us growing and creating that foundation that I just talked about, I guess. So does anyone want to get into that a little bit? And just like, I know it's not really an answer of when or what is needed. There's really no blueprint for getting us back to that price point. But over time, I guess, does anyone want to talk to what naturally will happen because of what we've set up here? If that makes sense. And maybe Marcelo there.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, we could both do it. I don't think there's on the trading side, well, most of the funds are in a manual trade. So that's our way to get back a lot of what was given to the market. But on the farming side, similar to what Jay is saying, it's, that this is like a thing that we, by being fully transparent and creating a nugget price, for example, it helps us because we're being transparent and showing everyone what's going on in the background. But it also, if you notice, most DeFi protocols don't, like, at least similar to us, they don't really show how much their farms are down or how much their trade is down. They just kind of say like, well, this week we made it, 5% or 10% or 30%, or this month or whatever it is. But you don't know what's going on in the background, where we show everything. So then there's always that questions like, well, when is the price going to go up, right? The TVL or AUM, what we manage is what we can use to create that income, create those rewards, and how long we can stay alive doing that. And the whole point of it is to never go down to zero, right? Is like Jay is doing, and myself, I'm trying my best to do the same thing, is to create that base so that when we get back to, let's say we go back to Solana 295, Bitcoin 110, hopefully Ethereum at 4K. We can't say 100% we will be at, I don't know, $10 nugget. But what will happen is throughout that time, our returns will probably increase. And through our compounding and investing in hodls and things like that, opening new farms and bots and things like that, our TVL will also grow, which then also feeds back into our reward system.
And just going back to, and I do see the other questions, and I am getting to them, guys. But Keith, understand too that the rewards aren't necessarily linked to the value of Nugget. The rewards are the stuff like what actually JC was already saying. They're the rewards that are being created. So sometimes our bots are just sitting there doing nothing, and they end up creating our price appreciation, while the mining or farming is creating our rewards. So there is a link in a sense, yes, but at the same token, they are kind of separate as well. So it's not necessarily one and the same because of how we've structured, again, Nugget, and how it performs, and how we create rewards from the work we're doing, and then we create appreciation of the Nugget price based on our TVL, or how much money we have to work with. Again, linked but not linked, but I do get you, Keith. Sorry, just going back. Sorry, go ahead, JC.
Yeah, I'll add to a little bit to that, based on, I don't know how much people know regarding like mortgages and things like that. And when you're buying a mortgage, you're paying like most of your interest at the beginning.
That's a good point.
And then, there's like a bell curve, right? So we have to, at least with the farms again. So, because this is what I do. I'm a farmer. This is what I do all day long. I stare at farms. I cycle through farms. Like people have to understand. So when I sit down and I cycle a farm, or I'm going to do a farm cycle, it takes me over an hour just to go through them. If I have to rebalance, it takes sometimes up to 2 hours to get through everything, including mine. that everything that I have to do. And sometimes I'll tell you something, when the market is either going up really hard or down really hard, it takes even longer. But that's just so you understand. Like I'll be there all day sometimes,
It's like a
just trying
circle.
to
You're
rebalance.
just like on a
It's
hamster
so
wheel
bad.
rebalancing.
I've been there for 10, 12 hours just trying to catch something. But sometimes it is what it is. I do what I got to do. But what that bell curve on that pay. So it's not about so much what you put in. It's about what you're pulling out on a farm. So if you're constantly paying out, that's good because you're getting your value from it. So I'll give you an example. If we would have always, instead of paying out, taken all this money and put it into whatever token we wanted, it would have lost value. Right? Because we had a drawdown. Yeah, if it would have gone up, everybody would have been like, oh my God, we're going up. But since we've been paying on the way up, we've been paying on the way down, there's always a value to the work that's being done, the farms, the bots, everything there's always a value to it because there's going to be a payout.
And
because that's what it creates.
And theoretically, that's brought the price down in its own way. Because we haven't kept it in there. So that's where I say, Keith, they're not one and the same. They're two separate entities that have a mutual relationship, but they're not necessarily exclusive to each other.
Pocket, I'd like to phrase it a little way that I understand it better, being kind of the finance guy who's a little more on the outside. We've got the farms, and like Jay said, they're paying on a daily basis. We've got the HODLs that are going to affect TVL dramatically when token prices go up. And so the TVL doesn't necessarily mean at that moment that there's a reward because we're holding those HODLs strictly for that purpose. But as that value rises and the token values rise, then the farms, for example, are going to be making more money off the value because it's always a percentile return. And then, of course, we've got the bots. And the bots are a strange animal. We put the money in and they pay out, but if they drop a ways, they kind of get locked up and we have to wait for the recovery. But then when we recover, we're grabbing a good chunk. And Marcelo's he's doing flat trades. Same thing. When we get a recovery, it's going directly to rewards and potentially TVL at the same time. So the four major pieces that we're running here and talking about all impact TVL and earnings in different ways.
Yeah. No, 100%. I agree, and that's a great way to put it. And that's even like the house example too, right? When a house appreciates in value during a housing bubble, that's where our TVL grows magically. But we're still paying out the same expenses, which technically are a smaller piece of the pie. So our farms kind of are that interest rate almost. Like there's so many ways you can word this, and I appreciate all of us having different views, and it helps hopefully you guys watching understand even better, which is great. So just to go through some other people, because I kind of gave Keith a lot of light there, which is awesome. He's a great guy. I love him. And Delphi mentioned, I guess, that we have some exciting updates. I honestly, I'm not sure what those were, but maybe Lazy or somebody knows is there any other than our dashboard update, but that was not one that was fun.
Yes. So we were thinking, I think Lazy, I think we were thinking about dropping this, but actually, this is something I'm going to throw it out there. The team can tell me no.
Oh no! Here
later,
we go.
Yell at me.
But you
haven't been able to do this kind of thing since hybrid bond.
Marcella, before you jump into that, can I mention something in that category? As many of you know, we just went through a migration because we had some challenges with staff. And we wanted to make sure that we were in complete ownership of our stuff. We are now, and I know a few of you are having a little trouble. Connections trust that we are on that, and we are working on that desperately. So we really went by a big milestone there it was kind of one of those invisible things, but we're now 100% in complete control of all of our contracts, all of our web and everything. So we protected our finances in yet another way that was kind of invisible. So I just want to bring that out there because we're working on those little challenges and we will get them solved. But sorry to cut you off, Marcelo, but go ahead.
No worries. I have a Brazilian family. We're good at being cut off, or at least I am. In Korean too. Koreans like that too. But no. So there were some ideas in the form of a second vault. This is, I think Pocket was just talking about. I think maybe that was Lazy Dog. I'm losing it. But with the bots, we're stuck in the situation because we opened the bots when I think Solana was at what I think 260 something, and now we're down to, well, we're up a little bit, but I'm not really trusting this pump. We'll see.
No. Nor should we.
Yeah, it's probably going to go down again. But we put a really wide range. We still got really nice returns while it was happening. But yeah, everything is down. But on the way down, you build a bag. As long as you don't get liquidated at the end, when it comes back up, you have more contracts than you originally have, because what the bot does is it constantly puts the exact amount of dollar into each step, right? But as you're going down, you're actually buying more contracts than when you start to sell, you sell the exact same amount of contracts. So for example, if we go back to 290, if we go above 300, even though the bots will be out of range on the other side, they will actually build up a huge bag of extra contracts that you actually start generating TVL, not income, because they'll be out of range. Eventually you have to close it and open a new range. So yeah, I think the bots and the farms work really well together. I've delved back into farming a little bit. Not as good as Jay, but I'm trying to kind of do both of them, and maybe that will help with earnings and kind of TVL hodling too, because with the farming, I found a Bitcoin farm that I kind of like on Solana, and it barely moves and it pays really well.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm playing with that one. Hopefully that, I think it'll keep going. It's CBBTC, so it's not pure Bitcoin, but you can't, it has to be wrapped anyway.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
Can't be mad.
So yeah, but we were talking a little bit before is, now we got the shiny vault, everything is working, people can deposit. If you need to, unstake, you can open a ticket and we pull you out of the vault and get your money back. But yeah, we were thinking of opening a bot vault before this whole dip happened. And then we kind of put that on the side. But if there's enough from the community that want to do something like that, so it'd be pure bot, really wide ranges, very low liquidation prices. So think like, but that there's always a danger, right? Because this is what I was explaining in the Discord is because we set such wide ranges, you're not putting us. So if you set your range to go down 50% or 35-40% below what the price is right now, you're not going to put a stop loss at 5%. Like if you're doing a manual trade, you'd put a stop loss there, or 3%, whatever, where you think it's going to go, it could go down to your risk management. But with the bot and with the farm too, you don't set a range and then you put a stop loss before you even hit the end of your range, because then you just destroyed your earning. Like what if it went down, but then it went back up? But that's also, on the other side, because the bots can have such a wide range, much wider than actually I could do on the farm, it also means once you're out of range, you're like down a lot,
Heavy, yeah. You can still weather the storm
handle,
but you're down a lot.
Yeah, so you can go down to liquidation. Liquidation is still far off, but you're out of range, so you're not earning anymore, but you're negative 70% because you're leveraged also. So like everything has there's a risk and reward to everything. So this is why we're diversified, and I saw someone asking about the miners. We'll get to that.
I was getting to that. Yeah.
The beautiful miners. But yeah, so if I think a bot vault could be fun for some people that have a little bit, they have some extra cash. This would also help Nugget Fund because we get part
We
of
always
the
make
fees
sure
and
it
things
helps.
like that. So that's out there. The team and we can all talk about it again and see if we can do that.
It could be
That is
more
something-
fun than. Sorry, Marcelo, not to interrupt, but it could be more fun than even the degen wallets that we did, in the sense that it would have more movement no matter what's going on with the market. But again, like anything, there is a risk of it going to zero, so everybody has to be careful and cautious and put money that they're willing to lose. And luckily, again, like everything we do, it's transparent, so you can see what we're doing, and it's not just us pocketing your money while we let things tank. So yeah. Oh, hey, Snipey from our trading group. So
yeah, that would be a trading bot vault. Pure. You just get into that section, just like Shiny Vault. You just have his trades, and I dabbled in that a little bit, but.
Well, can I jump in a second, Marcelo? One of the things that we have experienced over the year, and by the way, happy anniversary! It is our 1-year anniversary today.
Yes.
Oh, that is true.
We've made a year. I think it's only fair to share with people one of the things that we have worked very hard at is over the years that we have used a numerous number of exchanges looking at bots, and there's absolutely no doubt that certain exchanges, their bots are better than others. And I think that it's only been in the last 3 or 4 months that we've found an exchange I think that we're happy with the bots, the way that they work and the flexibility that they give us. And so I think that the bot performance is absolutely probably going to be improving in the future over what it was, say, 6 months ago.
Yeah. And yes, funny story. It will not be this long next time. I was supposed to have one set up a while ago, but anyways, whatever. It is what it is. I'm sorry. We definitely should have had more often. But we did go through a bear, and it was really like, what was there to talk about for a while, to be fair. But yes, we'll definitely do more of these. Sorry, that interruption caught me off guard and was funny. I guess we weren't talking DLMM, though, I don't think, but that was when you were talking, Marcelo, he was asking about that, but I don't think that was what you were talking about. Because DLMM is that not farming?
Yeah, that is farming.
But you were talking.
Wait. The vault is going to be bot trading, or we can do a pure farm one also. I don't know. I probably wouldn't manage that. I don't know if Jay wants to manage more farms, but with the bots, as long as we're looking at pairs that are safe, this vault wouldn't have. I don't know. Well, yeah, Pepe or something like that. It would be like a Bitcoin, Solana, and ETH vault. So it would just, what I feel, or I think we probably all feel, are like the safest blue chips.
The evergreens of the chips.
To kind of start a bot with probably most of it being on the Bitcoin bot. What I've noticed is the Bitcoin bot generated almost the same amount of returns as Solana, ETH. XRP did generate quite a bit for a bit there because it was going crazy. It's all about volume, and Bitcoin always has the most volume. So if you set the steps correctly, Bitcoin needs a lot more steps. So you're making like 0.01% per trade or 0.03% per trade, but you can do multiple trades nonstop all day. The daily return on the Bitcoin bot was much better. It was actually better than Solana.
Which is odd when I think about it, because the other ones can move more, creating more, because there's such a lower price. If they move $1, that's far more profit than $1 on Bitcoin.
But you're doing $1 on each step, so it's all percentage.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Yeah, that's
like
okay.
If it's moving a lot, Solana used to make a lot, but lately, it depends on the time and when we're doing things. So that's why we would have all three.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but
guess I guess where we're probably at here is for the community. If you're interested in personally in getting involved in a bot vault, why don't we just start a conversation and see what the
Yeah.
community thinks about it? And if
Yeah.
there's enough interest, we'll talk about setting the specifications. And if people like it, then we can set it up. Maybe no one
Yeah.
will have an actual interest.
No,
and
agreed. And that's
sorry,
the big thing,
I,
lazy,
I I
lazy is a good point.
deviated from the whole thing. It was the DLMM. That was the Bitcoin farm is on a that there is a Bitcoin farm that I've been playing with on Solana. Um,
Yeah,
I
and that's what I think Heath was
I think
asking, whether you could share that
Keith
with
was
them.
asking. Um, check, was it Radium and Orca? They have a couple of Bitcoin farms there. There's a few different pairs.
Oh, there you go.
And then if I may really quick, just to get the miners thing out of the way.
Yes, where was that? I did have that highlighted because I knew I wanted to get back to it at some point.
Damon?
Go ahead and talk about it. I'll find the, there it is. And I wanted to
Um,
actually shout out Damon because he's had some good, I don't know, Damon, who are you in Discord? Because obviously you have a Discord name. That's not Damon, I don't think. Because yeah,
No.
you've had some good points there, obviously, but I appreciate you. Anyways, word on the miners. Go ahead.
The miners are back online. The people we've been working with the last, what is that, about 6 weeks ish. We're back to someone that we were working with way back when Hybrid was around with fraction mining. People probably know him, Grip, and I'm forgetting the other guy. But Grip, he has I don't know the situation exactly, but he seems like he has ownership of some kind of correct me if I'm wrong, like gas.
Oh, you're talking about
It's a
the where it
gas
expels the
farming
gas?
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
like so he's working with another group.
That's miners.
So we have our own containers with his miners. So he has invested, like he has to have his miners on at all times. So we're kind of together with him now. We're getting 7 cents per kilowatt hour, which is great. Much better than we were used to pay 8.5 or something like that. But they were offline for a bit, even with him. That facility lost. I think one of their big clients didn't pay their bill, so they couldn't pay the gas, and then there was drama. And so what Grip has done is he's gone there, he separated our container from everyone else's that this other landholder has, and now we're online again. The problem is
Okay.
Caspa is down a lot, so
Yeah.
we'll have
But
to
when it
wait.
comes back,
Yeah. So we're mining, and it's it's barely profitable. Like it's not profitable. Some of them are losing like 10 cents per day, something like that, and the slower ones are losing about $1 per day. But we're still mining because if we do have a pump, if we turn them off, we can't turn them back on for a month, or it takes a couple
Okay.
days, a
Yeah.
week, or something like. And you have to because they'll rack them, they'll put them away, and all this stuff. They'll unrack them, and then then we have to turn them back on when it turns. So if it dips too much, where we're taking major losses, then I can get them to just stop mining,
Okay.
at least for a month or something.
But in the meantime, even if we're losing $1 or 10 cents a day or whatever, yeah, I can still see that being a benefit. When the pump happens, that loss is wiped in seconds sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and then
if it
wait,
goes
and
up
then
a few
sometimes
cents.
infinity. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's where the miners are. They are working. They're back online. Where I think Grip is getting their own generator also. So it's becoming its own like little encapsulated area there. Because they had problems with they keep all these guys that have gas generators that are running miners. They keep having problems with their generators, right? Because they keep breaking and things like that. And so Grip wants to have his own so that we're totally isolated from them, other than just using the land and a few other things that I don't understand, honestly. But
that's for them to worry about.
Hopefully they're online. They stay online. You know, I've had some miners that have been online for over 4 years, and you know, and they're still working. So if we can get these guys to just stay on and CASPA doesn't disappear, then we will see some returns from them, I believe.
Well,
Well,
and
I don't think
we have to look at the fact too that it's a little independent, but it is still tied to BTC. If BTC gets back over in the 9,505 range, CASPA is going to be climbing also. And,
Yeah.
you know, every penny it climbs is a multiplier on what we're actually earning per day. I did some math, and I think that our break even, or I should say our profit point is somewhere around 14 to 15 cent CASPA.
Yeah. If it gets up there, that'll be nice, especially if they're all online.
There you go.
Yeah, online kind of makes the most impact.
They were offline when CASPA was going crazy, so that's mining. Everything has risk. I mean, you know, there's no.
Yep.
No
a couple comments that I didn't get a chance to kind of throw in there, but I think we kind of talked about it a little bit as Damon kind of put this. People need to remember that token price doesn't just rocket because of the farms getting split, coins as well, and again the payouts that I talked about as well. Like all those different things will affect the token price in a negative way. It's kind of a lost leader, right? Like it's the token price is not always going to be a deployer of how well we're doing. It's just there to give you guys that guide of how our TVL is doing. But $200 and some thousand dollars or $300,000 of payouts is still something to hold really high praise over, and other things like that. So keep those things in mind. But yeah, that's something I wanted to point out there, and agreed. Damon, same thing. Steady job. I'll keep DCAing. I'm doing the same thing, and it's brought my average price point, as you guys might see in my weekly update videos, is 8 and change. I did miss. Today's Friday, isn't it? I missed today, yesterday's. Damn it, because I'm away. But anyways, I'll DCA again the same amount to make sure I bring myself back, and I'll do my spreadsheet up again, and that will again drop my price more because the price is dropping right now. So it's a good time to kind of get that better value in. I have one of the whales hopefully going to put a little chunk in to help that as well. So,
well, now that you just mentioned the fact that you're DCAing, I think everybody has to understand that at least, if I'm not mistaken, all of us, all four of us have Nugget personally. Like I hold. Yes. I don't want to say how much I hold, but I'm on the higher end of the citizen numbers. So I do want to let people know that I have a good amount invested
interest.
and I want this to go up, and I want to earn more. This is not just something that I'm doing as for fun. This is an investment that I'm putting in myself, and I have skin in the game. I want this to go as well as possible. So I think that if people understand that we are also in there, I know that Pocket, you go ahead and do that. You show everybody that you're doing it. I don't think that they don't see what I mean. Personally, what I do, I every single week I just reinvest. Every single week I've reinvested because I know what our strategies are. I know what we're doing. I'm not saying anybody else should do what I'm doing, but I mean, this is what I'm personally. I believe in what and in the actual strategy that we have, and to connect that to what Keith said. His question was, what kind of move does the market have to make to get us back to where we started? All right, so I'll give you just so you an understanding. At least personally on the farm side, the less it goes up fast, so as if it's a gradual rise, then it gives at least the farms, and I imagine the bots as well, an opportunity to take in that volume as it's progressively going up, instead of just shooting up past numbers or shooting down past numbers. So what do we want with the market? The market's never going to do what we want, but what do I want from it's like my kids, but what do I want from the market? I want it Exactly.
Yeah.
Up and to the right, but slowly. And if it goes down, honestly, I gotta tell you, I don't mind it going down. Just don't go down so hard. Let me catch you in there. Let me ride you back up. You know that
Yeah.
wave. When there's a wave and you're in there, so there's always like a time in the market where there's a zone. And I'll tell you, the last time I was in the zone was more or less between March and June. All right, so I have to let you know, March is the end of March usually is where the wave starts kind of like coming in. So I'm hoping, no hopium for people, just personal, that's where we're going and that wave is going to come in. But we might have to see one of these, drawdowns for it to start popping back up at levels. I just don't want it to go ballistic and just rock it up because we're going to miss a lot of that. There are going to be a lot of gaps. We want to fill up as much as we can. And that's what everybody wants to do. You want to fill up as much as possible so that whenever there's a drawdown, you have different places that you can hold support. So it won't just run right through all these numbers, but if it goes down, it'll come down slowly. Boom, it hits this level, it'll go down slowly, it'll hit this level. Instead of you jump back up, now you're going right through those same levels without any support. So what do we want with the market? Gradual ups, and if it comes down, gradual downs.
And that's another reason why it was kind of hard to say. Yeah,
I want to jump back in just a second and back up a couple of minutes to where it kind of started that conversation. I think that this is an important point that we would like people to understand is that this team is not just running Nugget. We are living Nugget. Every one of us does have good money in Nugget, and it's in our interest to grow, but I think that being invested in it should help reassure people that, we're not here just to play around with your money.
Yeah, it's a business and it's being run like one, which is something we've lacked in this space for a long, long time. And as much as we hate the drops and stuff that we have, and we want to just constantly be green and amazing for you guys, it's just not the reality. And it's not the reality of all the projects that make it sound like they are, right? That's why none of them are here anymore. And I think there's some that are in rough shape, as much as they're not saying it. There's some that are doing just farming, for example, and no diss to JC, but the fact that we've diversified the way we have has helped us weather this storm that we've had. And it's not even been a storm. It's been like one day it's lightning, one day it's thunder, one day it's been all over the board. We haven't really it's been kind of crazy the last little bit, and we've weathered it, I think, quite well. And I think we're going to continue to weather it quite well. I don't want us to run too much longer because hour is a long time for these kind of things. I would have loved it to be shorter-ish, but I appreciate all the conversations we've had. And I think it's been all very positive and good stuff that people need to hear. And appreciate JC for showing the face and being a great contributor to the conversation and helping us understand what side you've put into all this. And as always, Marcelo, for all of your candor and appreciate all what you're doing. You, Lazy JC, you guys do the work, and I appreciate you guys making me look amazing by putting all the efforts you guys put in to what's creating what we're doing for the community. And I ask this in every video, guys. It would be amazing if you guys would just put the word out there and make people understand how special this is. And I don't just say that because I'm on the team. I say it because I think there really is some secret sauce, not even secret. I think there's some really good sauce, really good synergy, something amazing that we don't see in this space very much. And even coming down to something that we didn't mention today very much yet is our partnerships too, like with Neo, and even including Tempe, hopefully, which will be something that will grow in this space, and hopefully more to come. Even EMP, we've had chats with AJ, and been some really good chats. So yeah, all these different things are pretty amazing opportunities for us, and pretty great things that we haven't seen from a lot of communities in the space. So I think more people need to see what we're gonna offer as the space grows and as DeFi grows and all that kind of stuff. Anything you guys want to add to all that? Sorry, that was just, I guess, a quick closing argument that I did out of nowhere.
I concur.
Yeah, all good. Love it.
Marcelo, was there anything else you wanted to touch on that we had discussed, or are we good?
Oh yeah,
Well,
you
do you want to
really
talk
give. I guess the
about?
alpha was the
Well, the bot vault and
yeah
V2.
was kind
Oh,
of
we
the
did that. Yeah. I just
yeah.
didn't know if we'd missed something that I didn't think of. I'm not sure there
V2
is. I'm just asking if I'd missed something.
Oh, okay.
be
In
some
general, if you want
upgrades
to tell us
to the
something cool,
website.
Marcelo.
And I think people will start to see that we're going to take it a little slow on the development side, but there will be like gradual little upgrades. But first, we need to get our website working and the connection with wallets
Well, you
not
need
to
the
have a problem.
fundamentals going first, right? Yeah, and everything working the way it was before. And now once we've got that, we can start growing from there.
You'll see
So,
some tidbits here and there. I think it'll start to look
yeah.
kind of nice.
So we actually already kind of
Oh,
have a
yes,
partnership. We've
we
been
do.
we've been starting it, like I started talking to AJ, 8 months ago about Nugget, and then Marcelo I think continued a really good conversation with AJ, and so we finally have some exchange of things going on, and hopefully more to come with that, because they're a great resource and a great community that we definitely don't want to sleep on. And again, we just the more this space is full of so many people that just want to do their thing in their little corner and hope that everything. I don't know. It's sad, unfortunately. And when these communities start coming together, I think that's where this space is really going to shine. And I think it's more important than ever that we do more of that community camaraderie right now, because of the fact that as soon as this bull run comes, we're going to see all the Ponzi bullshit. We're going to see all the things that wreck people, and people are going to be drawn to those shiny things. And as much as possible, if we can create really strong communities of people that know what's what and that aren't jaded or aren't kind of mossed to a light to all this crap, the more we can hopefully keep people into something that's not going to wreck them. I'm okay with people having fun with some fun money, but unfortunately, when the bull market comes, there's going to be people getting wrecked with real money, because they're going to be first timers to the space, and they're gonna see what we all saw. I mean, I lost a boatload of money, and I've just recently finally started getting some pretty decent headway of getting it back because of things like Nugget, because of other things in the space that are doing well. So yeah. Anyways, again, another long-winded thing there, but hopefully good stuff. Anything else to close us off, guys? Otherwise, we'll end it there, and we'll do more of these, guys. I'm not going to put a commitment to timing, but we'll see how things go in the next month, and maybe try and do something more regularly for everybody, because I appreciate us all coming together.
No, all right.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think they were good.
Thank you.
Yeah.